شرف كبير أننا نكون مع إخواننا الجزائريين. وش تفضل الأستاذ يعني وش قدمنا هذا شيء قليل من قد ما قدمتنا الجزائر، يعني شيء يعني لا يضاهي التعليم والمجهودات اللي صرفت علينا الجزائر. وإنما نقدم هذا يعني مش فضل منا، ولكن يعتبر واجب للجزائريين ولكل العرب والمسلمين بصفة عامة يعني. و الحمد لله يعني عندما التقي مع الجزائريين والطلبه اللي يجونا يعملوا لي ستاج، انا كنت نتعلموا منهم، لكن نتعلموا يعني كان يتعلم كل يوم نتعلموا اشياء جديده. وكذلك اود ان اشكر جامعة أدرار والبروفيسور مسعود واللجنة التنظيمية وحميد على الاستضافة. يعني أول مرة يعني أحضر الجزائر وإن رئيس المؤتمر يستقبلنا في المطار. يعني مشيت إلى كل بلدان العالم، أمريكا، كندا، تشيلي، الأرجنتين، البرازيل، أفريقيا، كل مكان إلا في أدرار. التقينا رئيس المؤتمر واللجنة التنظيمية تستقبلنا في المطار. هذا الشيء يعني شيء إنما يدل على كرم ونبالة الناس أدرار، نفتخر به، وإن شاء الله يعني يبقى للمستقبل الأجيال القادمة. So what I'm going to share with you this morning is about the role of power electronics. I think Mr. Mahdi Zakaria this morning talked about the challenges and the opportunities for achieving carbon or neutral carbon societies. So what I'm going to share is on the, maybe I will explain to you first. So what I am having these two affiliations. I am in Malaysia and I am in Australia. So 70% of my time I spend in Australia, 30% I spend in Malaysia. I have still lab there, I have students. So we work, you know, in both countries. So that's so what I'm going to share this morning is on the power electronics. I don't know, most of you maybe know about power electronics and how this power electronics can help achieving neutral carbon society. So this is the challenge. The challenge is how we can achieve this neutral society or neutral world of carbon. So the biggest question is, or the biggest question that needs to be answered is, why is climate sustainability is a challenge? It's very challenging and it's very complex, because this climate actually it has two dimensions. One is we need our energy needs. You know, our energy needs is keep increasing year after year. You know, and in order to achieve our energy needs, we need to generate more energy. It have to be generated because there is demand. And in generating this energy and the way how we use energy is not sustainable. So we do a lot of emissions. And I can give you an example. You know, I came from a very small town in Sétif, you know, not in the capital Sétif, but in a place called in the borders between Jijil, Mila, and Sétif. يعني في I don't know, منطقة اسمها والبان, يعني very touristic, very nice place. You know, 40 years back, 40 years before 10 years after I born, in that village, there is only one car. And that car operates everything. As an ambulance, someone sick, we go to that person. Someone get married, we go to that person to bring the bride. Someone have some emergency, we go to that person. So that car is everything for the village, you know. That person very important. Is better than the minister for us, because he serves the community. I went back to the same place 40 years later. What I found, in every house there are 4 cars parked. What does it mean? Yeah, maybe economically people get richer. That's good. Maybe people getting more money. which is good. But from energy perspective, the energy consumption per person has increased not 100 times. So this is the thing. So the energy needs drives energy generation. Energy generation drives emissions. So how we are going to address this very complex relationship? It's a very complex relationship. Because you cannot tell someone who does not have access to electricity, please use renewables. He needs to eat. He needs to cook. He doesn't care about the climate. So this is a very complex relationship. So as a scientist, we have a role to play and try to address this kind of issue. So what we see due to this, we see unprecedented disasters. Never happened before. Let me give you some example. You see, in a different part of the world. Can you please switch off the lights, the first row, I think we need to have so what we see different in different parts of the world, from Africa to China to US to everywhere. Never happened before, floods. In Pakistan, in 2022, more than 5 million people have been displaced. Thousands of people died in Pakistan, Thousands, hundreds of thousands of homes has been destroyed. Never happened in the last 100 years. We see this, same thing. In the United States, different parts of the United States, never been experiencing this kind of floods. In New Zealand, last year in Australia, we have seen floods never happened before in Australia. 100 years, never happens. Okay. Even in New York, New Jersey, now we see this kind of things. And if we don't see this, the floods, we see the droughts. I don't know, you know this place or not. I've been to this place. This place is in China, where the Yangtze River. Yangtze River is the largest river in China, where there is the largest hydro power in the world, 18 gigawatts. One of the rivers that supply this large river dries up. You see? So you can see the extremes. And one of the reasons why they build this hydropower in the Yangtze River in China, even it's very far from Shanghai and Beijing, they do the DC transmission. One of the reasons why they do, because the floods. To address the issue of the flood, they build this, the largest hydropower in the world, 18 gigawatts. But what happened? A few years later, the supply has dried off. Okay? So what also we see? Wildfire everywhere in the United States. I think you have seen in the news, every day you see this in the news. You see this, Europe, 2022. All Europe has burning, from France to Portugal to Greece to Germany to Italy to Spain, everywhere. Why? Why this never happened before? Even in Siberia, the coldest place, there's a large fires happening. So these are the signs, actually. And also we see sandstorms. So what's the cause of this? The cause of this is the auto emissions that is generated and not sustainable. So that's the main reason of this kind of disasters and this climate change. So we see this kind of thing. So what we going to do? What you can see? Take a bit on this. What you can see, current level of the last so this is, you can see a exponential increase of the CO2 emissions in the last 50 years. Temperature, earth temperature is increasing. Here, you can see it's increasing year after year. That's why this Paris Convention came to address this kind of issue and try to limit the amount of temperature. Okay, where this emission come from? That's the biggest question. The biggest question is, this emission comes from, you see, the advanced economies, which is mainly the United States, Japan, and the European Unions. They are doing a lot of effort in reducing the amount of emissions. but the emerging economies like China and India. So these are the main contributors currently. But if we look into the past is different. The past, the developing countries represent more than 50% of because that's the history. The history, actually, the one who make the world polluted is the Europe and the United States, because they represent 50% of the total emissions. The other 150 countries represent the other 50. So 23 countries represent 50% of the total emissions. So that's why developed countries bear a lot of responsibilities to address the climate change. Okay? So the question is how to address this problem, because we all be impacted. How we are going to impact or to solve this kind of problem? We have only 3 ways how to deal with this problem. One, mitigation. We try to mitigate, means slow down the impact. Means what we do means maybe we use less energy, try to be as efficient as possible. Means we apply what we call energy conservation. I'm not sure you know what is energy conservation. Energy conservation is one of the very important steps. Before talking about renewables, we have to do what we call energy conservation. Energy conservation is use energy efficiently, effectively. I give you an example. Means, for example, what is the temperature here? Around maybe 21, right? And then we on the air conditioning, we put it around 16 or 17. And then what we do? We go and buy a jacket to keep us warm. So this is not the efficient way. This is not energy conservation. Energy conservation means use energy as you need. If the international standard for comfortable temperature is 24. So you should put the air conditioning at 24. If you want to make a cup of tea, why you have to boil 1 liter of water? And this have to be at home, It have to be a way of life at home. You have to teach your wife, your mother, your daughter, when you boil the water, boil as you need, because boiling the water consumes a lot of energy. And I know maybe from your perspective, it does not make a lot of difference. But imagine many houses around the world. Multiply. Billion. You save 1 watt. Multiply by 1 billion, by 2 billion. You save 2 billion watts. To generate that 2 billion watts, how much gas or coal you have to burn? How much CO2 emissions? So you have to look into the global perspective. Because the impact is globally now. It's not the floods happens in Algeria, happens in China, happens in Europe, happen everywhere. So everyone is impacted. So we need to look globally. The second solution, which is we need to adapt it, take actions and try to live with it. And then climate resilience, which we are going to discuss after. So I think we have seen this, the energy transitions. The world is working through energy transitions, trying to shift from 25% of electricity to around 90% or more of electricity generation. But this is very challenging. It's very expensive. It's not cheap. It will take a long time, but we have no other choice. So let me talk about the power electronics. The power electronics. This is you can see it's a boxes. time most of you know this, right? And as we know, every time the person costs. So what does this